Welcome to another edition of Horse Center, everyone. I am Brian Zipsey, and as you can tell, my co-host to the East Coast is right next to me, Matt Schiffman. How are you today, Matt?
I'm terrific, Brian. You're here. What the heck are you doing here, Brian?
I don't know, Matt. I really don't know. But I'll tell you why we're here. We're here to film another edition of Horse Center, and this one is going to be a special show, Matt. We're going to do the Mid-Season Awards. The calendar says June 19, but basically the horse racing season as we know it is half over. We thought this the perfect time to kind of run down the season so far, and the best way to do that is talk about who would be champion, who gets the Horse Center Mid-Season Awards. Matt, why don't we start with Horse of the Year? I have a feeling we're going to agree on our choice.
I think on this one we're going to agree, Brian, that right now it has to be Arrogate.
Arrogate, that powerful Son of Unbridled song. Matt, he's only run 2 times, but it doesn't matter. Those 2 races are so good that we just can't ignore them. No one out there right now would seem to pose much threat for Arrogate. Matt, why don't we look back at that Dubai World Cup? That was his most recent race back in the end of March. And I think as good as Arrogate looked in races like the Travers, the Breeders' Cup Classic, and of course the Pegasus World Cup, the Dubai World Cup was something above and beyond.
It sure was, Brian, because he was facing Gunrunner in that race, who most people feel is the second best older male in the country, and he just mowed him down the stretch, Brian. He went by him pretty easily and drew off. The 10 furlongs seems to be the perfect distance for Arrogate.
Yes, Matt, I agree with you about the distance. 10 furlongs, maybe even farther. I don't think he's going to run farther unless he does something special on turf here down the road. But Arrogate seems to just get better and better as the distances increase. And when he broke poorly in the Dubai World Cup on the outside there, he had so much work to do against a quality field. Obviously, Gunrunner was the top competition that day, but just a huge performance. And it really showed us all that the sensational Arrogate can overcome trouble, and that's what a great horse is all about. We were really starting to, and I think we're not alone, Matt, in comparing Arrogate, even though it's 7 races that he's won in a row, 8 races lifetime, 4 big graded races. We're already starting to compare him to some of the greats of yesteryear, and that's exciting. As far as Horse of the Year, Matt, is there any competition right now?
Probably not, but Saturday night's racing at Churchill Downs, and Gunrunner came back to the races. Arrogate has not yet, but Gunrunner came back to the races, and wow, Brian, that was a phenomenal performance off the layoff against a decent field that was made up of all horses who were graded stakes winners at some point, and he just crushed that field right out of the gate. Fast fractions, fast times. Florent Giroux said the horse did not get tired down the stretch at all. Got me wondering a little bit, Brian, if the right situation, the right distance, not 1.25 miles, 1.125 miles maybe, could Gunrunner maybe have a chance as good as he seems to have gotten?
Yeah, Gunrunner has taken it up to a new level. Again, Asmussen talked about changing the way he would be ridden or the way he would be raced last fall, and deciding that Gunrunner should just let him run free, let him go to the lead, let him show his early speed and see how far he can take him. He seems like he was already a very good horse, but he seems like he's taken it to a whole new level. So we're talking about older dirt male now, and obviously Arrogate, since he's the clear Horse of the Year, is going to be our champion older dirt male at this mid-season juncture. But yeah, we need to mention Gunrunner, and what he did just Saturday night in the Stephen Foster was really impressive. I didn't think the other horses pressured him as much as they could have. There was some other speed in the race, and it's almost like they know how good Gunrunner is, and they said, we'll race for second place, because not putting much pressure on Gunrunner sure wasn't going to get him beat. But what Gunrunner did with that, what he ran with, was obviously very impressive. 147 and change, 7-length win over a decent field. There were no true grade 1 horses, a bunch of grade 2 horses behind him. As far as beating Arrogate, yeah, I think if you're going to beat Arrogate, it would be under 9 furlongs, a mile 16th. Maybe Gunrunner should try the San Diego at a mile 16th, but still, Arrogate looks so good. It's a hard nut to crack. Matt, older dirt mail, there's some strong horses. We're talking Arrogate 1, Gunrunner 2, but more Spirit, winning streak, moving into the Med Mile. Shaman Ghost, Santa Anita Handicap, Pimlico Special winner. They deserve some mention, I guess, in the 3rd and 4th spots as well.
Absolutely. It's a very, very good division. And then if you want to go down a little bit more and throw in horses like Cupid, a lot of good horses for racing fans to see in this division around the country. Gunrunner is going to be in Saratoga. Arrogate's going to be out in California. So I'm looking forward to seeing Gunrunner in the spot.
Yeah, Gunrunner, Asmussen said the Whitney's a likely next start. So we're agreed on the horse of the year, Arrogate. Number 2, I think Gunrunner, we didn't say it, but I think Gunrunner would be my number 2 as far as horse of the year right now. And that's the same in the older dirt male. Now, the older dirt female division has suddenly, in the last few weeks, just blossomed and become maybe the strongest division of all, Matt. Who is your older dirt female champion as far as the midseason awards go?
For me, it's Songbird. She came back, won her race, and seems to be every bit as good, or will probably get better than she was last year.
Matt, you can't have her as the mid-season champion with only 1 race. Now, it was a grade 1 on Belmonte, a $750,000 race, but I have to side with Stellar Wind here. Stellar Wind has run 2 grade 1 races, so she's doubled Songbird to this point. Actually, both of them, they haven't won by a lot, especially Stellar Wind. The one thing I will say about Stellar Wind, not only has she raced twice with 2 grade 1 wins this year versus Songbird with 1 grade 1 win, is that I think she's beaten better horses than Songbird. Songbird was challenged just a little bit by Paid Up Subscriber, decent grade 2 filly. But Stellar Wind at Arkansas had to run down a loose Terra Promessa. And Terra Promessa is a very talented older mare. And then in California, she had that battle with Valdori. She had to go after Valdori, the speed horse from Brazil. So for me, Stellar Wind, not only has she done twice as much as Songbird this year, but she's beaten better horses.
Yeah, I can't argue with that, Brian. Stellar Wind certainly has it's 2-1 on wins this year, and I'll admit it, I'm a huge Songbird fan, and yes, I'm peeking ahead to what's going to happen in the second half of the year, and yes, I'm thinking a little bit about last year that, you know, she only barely lost to Beholder, one of the greatest mares of all time.
Can't disagree with you, Matt. Songbird, you know, I can't say anything negative about Songbird, but if I'm just strictly going with midseason awards, I would give it to Stellar Wind right now. Another mare, Songbird came back a little over a week ago, return win from the Breeders' Cup, another Breeders' Cup competitor, and a darn good one. I think a few people forget how well Forever Unbridled ran in the Breeders' Cup Distaff last year, a good rallying third. She was in the picture with the top 2, of course, Beholder and Songbird. She returned 1 week later, also on that Saturday night Stephen Foster card, and she really won quite effortlessly and smoothly. It was a simple ride for Joel Rosario in the Fleur-de-Lis.
Yeah, and Joel was full of confidence riding the horse, and she made her closing move and just strong, powerful move down the stretch and easily beat that field. And, you know, Brian, if you want to think ahead to the second half of the year, like I was saying about Songbird, if the 3 of them get in a race and Songbird and Stellar Wind are knocking heads, Forever Unbridled could be the one to come a running late. So older dirt female division is really loaded.
Really loaded. Stellar Wind, I don't think, has to knock heads with Songbird early in these races. I think there's the good ones I mentioned before, with all the speed they have, Terra Promessa, Valdori. So what that means is Songbird probably has some quality competition early in the race. Again, we're looking ahead here. But Stellar Wind would make a smaller rally, even though she's proven she can go out pretty quick. She broke badly in the Breeders' Cup Distaff last year, but she has enough natural speed. But I don't think she'll have to in a race like the Breeders' Cup Distaff this year with horses like Valdori and Terra Promessa. Forever Unbridled is not as good as the top two. At least she wasn't as good last year, but she really made a big jump. I followed Forever Unbridled since she's a 2-year-old for trainer Dallas Stewart. She really made a big jump from 3 to 4. She was a nice 2-year-old, a nice 3-year-old, but she really got better last year. If she's still improving somehow, then maybe she is in the picture with Songbird and Stellar Wind. Matt, why don't we take that older dirt female division and stay with the females, the older ones, and go to turf. Who do you like in this division?
Again, I'm a little leaning towards my favorites, and I'm going with Lady Eli off of that huge victory in California in the Game League.
Okay, so Lady Eli has run 2 races this year. She's 1 for 2. They were both grade 1s, one in Keeneland, one in California. Matt Dickinson, on the other hand, she's run 5 times. She finished 4th in her first race of the year, but then she rattled off 3 graded stakes in a row. And the third of that string was a grade 1 win over Lady Eli. It was very close. Dickinson got her late at Keeneland. Dickinson, of course, came back and ran 3rd recently in a big race at Belmont, the Just a Game. So Dickinson is 3 of 5. Lady Eli 1 of 2, almost 2 for 2. I think that's an interesting question. Again, if we're just sticking with mid-season awards, it's an interesting question. Who would get this right now? But I'm with you. I think Lady Eli deserves it as well.
Yeah, and Lady Eli, she would get the sentimental vote from a lot of people anyway.
As interesting as the turf female division is, I don't know, and we didn't even mention the Just a Game winner. Who knows how good that one is?
Yeah, the Antono from the Chad Brown barn, she ran a huge race against that really spectacular field in the Just a Game. And it'll be interesting to see, was that just a one race thing, or is that a really, really talented horse?
Antono looks awfully good. 2 for 2 in the United States after having a tough year in France last year. But the turf male division, on the other hand, Matt, isn't nearly as exciting. As we went to the mid-season award, I think we both struggled to find the best turf males. It seems like they've won one race, one good race, a lot of them, that's all they've done. But there was one horse who has 2 big wins, and I think that's our choice, both of our choices for turf male of the midseason.
Yeah, it has to be because, as you said, all the other horses have taken turns winning a race, and one of the big grade ones was actually won by a female, so maybe that says something about the group. But we're going to California for Bala Bali, who is 7 years old now, 2 big grade 1 mile wins in California, and with that record, right now, Bala Bali is the best turf male in the country, and maybe will continue to do that.
Yeah, 2 grade 1 wins in California. He's a miler, Bala Bali, but I think that clearly is deserving of the mid-season award right now. You mentioned a female winning a big race. Of course, that was the Man of War, Zukova. We didn't even mention Zukova yet on the turf female side, so you can see how we feel about the turf females versus the turf males to this point. The females are better. Zukova won the Man of War. She got the kind of turf condition she wanted, but another really good turf female. Bala Bali, boy, is 7-year-old South American import for Richard Mandela. He also, both of our award winners here on the turf mid-season awards, Matt, they both are survivors of laminitis. So Lady Eli and Bala Bali, very interesting horses and easy to root for, but right now they get our mid-season turf awards. Matt, let's go to the glamour divisions, the 3-year-olds. And 3-year-old male is not as easy for me as I think it is for you.
Yeah, and we've been saying it since January, Brian, that this division is wide open. They've taken turns winning the big races, but let's stop right there. Always Dreaming won the biggest of the races. Always Dreaming won the Kentucky Derby, and Always Dreaming won the Florida Derby. So, Brian, right now, Always Dreaming is the division leader. Second half of the year, who knows what's going to happen?
Yeah, I don't know what's going to happen either, although I have a feeling Always Dreaming will not be the 3-year-old champion at the end of our discussion, at the end of the year. Is he the 3-year-old champion for the Midseason Award? I guess so, Matt, but let me remind you that the Kentucky Derby was a sloppy track, and it had a track bias that day. In the Florida Derby, he beat State of Honor. I think Always Dreaming has question marks. In the Preakness, it really became a duel between the Derby winner and the juvenile champion. And at least to my eyes, Classic Empire, the juvenile champion, the Arkansas Derby winner, was the better horse in the Preakness. I don't know how we can deny that, and I don't know what kind of excuse Always Dreaming had for really being beaten in the Preakness like that. So, Midseason Award, 3-year-old male, I'm going to agree with you. Always Dreaming is the one, but boy, is it a tenuous position in my eyes. We can talk about a lot of horses, Matt. There's Timeline, who's undefeated, won the Peter Pan and the Pegasus, hasn't really beaten much yet. McCracken came back pretty well bloodied from the Kentucky Derby. He returned Saturday night. It wasn't a strong field by any means in the Grade 3 Matt win, but it was just nice to see McCracken healthy and doing his thing at Churchill Downs again.
Yeah, Brian, McCracken came back and did everything that he needed to do. Even trainer Ian Wilkes was saying after the race, we're behind the horses that have won the Triple Crown. We had to come out and get a nice win, and they did that. They did everything right. He ran the kind of race that we were accustomed to seeing from McCracken. He is behind the 8 ball. He's going to have to win probably more than one Grade 1 race to be a serious contender for the title at the end of the year.
Yeah, as a fan of McCracken, it was perfect to see what he did. He has that kind of explosive turn of foot and then an effortless cruising speed down the stretch, which we saw in the Matt win, as we saw in the Sam F. Davis and all of his races last year. But you're right, he's behind the 8 ball. He would probably have to get a couple Grade 1 wins the second half of the year. But on the other hand, this division is so wide open with no one having done too much, whereas I think the best horse in the second half of the year has a really big advantage because that'll be what people remember as far as the Eclipse Award. But right now, McCracken's not number 2 in my eyes. He might be the second best horse or even maybe the best 3-year-old in training right now. But we have to talk about the Preakness winner, the Belmont winner, the Belmont second, the Arkansas Derby winner, Matt.
Yes, and I think if either Always Dreaming or Cloud Computing or Taprit wins another one of the big Grade 1s in the second half of the year, it's going to be hard for that horse not to win the title.
Right. The Travers would be a big race. The Travers is the biggest race probably because the Breeders' Cup Classic might be unwinnable for the 3-year-olds, considering horses like Arrogate and Gunrunner. But however, we never know. Depending on how things shake out, maybe the Pennsylvania Derby, maybe the Clark Handicap late in the year will be the race that finally ultimately decides this very muddled division. But it was nice to see McCracken back. Timeline, another one who raced this weekend. So horses are starting their second half surge already, and that division is up in the air. The 3-year-old female division probably is not nearly up in the air, Matt, but we might have a disagreement as who should be number 1 in the Midseason Awards.
I'm going with Unique Bella. We know she hasn't run in a while, but what she did in the beginning of the year was impressive. And keeping in mind that one of those victories in California was over Abel Tasman, who is the horse that everybody's talking about right now.
You had to mention that. You had to mention that she beat Abel Tasman. I'm going to remind you that in the Santa Isabel, Unique Bella had been racing all along, and Abel Tasman was coming off a layoff. And it was a pretty good race. Abel Tasman put a stretch run in there before Unique Bella rebroke and pulled away. The best 3-year-old filly we've seen this year is Unique Bella. She's 3 for 3. They're all graded stakes. None of them Grade 1s, by the way. But 3 graded stakes wins, 3 for 3. And Abel Tasman was the only one that really came close to her. However, she is not my choice for a Midseason Award. I cannot look at those 3 graded stakes that are not Grade 1 races in the same vein that I can look at races like the Kentucky Oaks and the Acorn. Abel Tasman lost a couple races to start the year, including to Unique Bella, but by winning probably the 2 biggest, in fact, I'll stick with that, the 2 biggest 3-year-old filly races to date this year, going into the Midseason Awards, for me, it's Abel Tasman. She won the Kentucky Oaks She did it convincingly. She won the Acorn. She did it convincingly. Abel Tasman, 2 big Grade 1 wins. She's my champion. I don't know when Unique Bella's coming back. If she comes back, I would probably favor her over Abel Tasman. But right now, if I'm giving out an award for mid-season, it's Abel Tasman. 2 Grade 1 wins, Matt.
Fair enough, Brian.
All right, Matt. So we did the 3-year-olds. Now we're going to go to the sprinters. And let's do the female sprinter first, Matt, because I think this one was easy. She's only run 2 races, and this is just a terrific mare that just seems to get a little bit better every year. We're talking about Paula's Silver Lining. She had a really nice year last year, ran a good Breeders' Cup, didn't win it, but just a really nice mare. And now she's done it in different places this year. Well, both are in Kentucky, but the Grade 1 Madison at Keeneland, and then the Grade 1 Humane at Distaff. Paula's Silver Lining, no doubt for me, female sprinter of the midseason.
No doubt. Those were both very impressive victories, and nobody else has shown enough to compete with Paula's Silver Lining.
I wonder how many casual racing fans out there know about Paula's Silver Lining, Matt, or medium racing fans, because she's really a terrific mare, and she's looking better than ever. Give her a halfway Eclipse Award this year. Now, the male sprinter, that's a different division and a different story. As easy was for us to pick the female sprinter, I wonder how hard it is to pick the male sprinter of the midseason.
Yes, Brian. This is a very tough one. We've got a few names here to consider. American Anthem from the Bob Baffert barn, another one of these dirt horses that have come out and are doing really big things. We've got Whitmore, who's strung together 4 or 5 really, really impressive victories in the first half of the year, and then fell short on Belmont Stakes Day. And then there's Mind Your Biscuits, who went over to Dubai and won the Golden Shaheen in impressive fashion and is getting ready to come back in the Belmont Sprint Championship on July 8th.
Yeah, there's some interesting choices here. They haven't really raced against each other. They're doing things in different parts of the country, the world. So it really is hard to make heads or tail of this division. I'm going to go with the horse who I think won the biggest race. And right now, if they ran the Breeders' Cup Sprint in another couple weeks, the horse I would favor, and that's Mind Your Biscuits. Mind Your Biscuits, I thought he was the best down in Florida when he just missed to Unified. He was going to catch him any stride. And then Dubai was just such a big effort. Mind Your Biscuits winning the Golden Shaheen, the rich Golden Shaheen in Dubai against a strong field. He just powered through overland route and just routed that field. So Mind Your Biscuits is my choice, even though he's only 1 of 2 this year. American Anthem has looked really good when he went back to sprinting his last 2 against 3-year-olds, though, 3 no older horses yet. And Whitmore hasn't won a Grade 1. 4 wins to start the year. 1 was an allowance, 1 was a listed stakes, and then 2 graded stakes at Oaklawn and Pimlico, not Grade 1s. And then, of course, he lost his last race. So Whitmore's in the discussion. But I'm going to go Mind Your Biscuits. Golden Shaheen was huge. He is my choice. Is he your choice as well? He's
my choice also. And the sprint division in particular is loaded with big races as the year goes on.
All right, Matt. So we've done our 9 divisions. We can't do 2-year-olds yet, folks. It's just too early for midseason awards for 2-year-olds. But we've gone over them real quick here. Horse of the Year, Arrogate. Gunrunner would be second on both of our lists, as is in the older dirt male division. Arrogate over Gunrunner. Older dirt female, Matt and I disagreed. He went Songbird, I went Stellar Wind. Turf female, we both landed on Lady Eli, but certainly Dickinson deserves a lot of credit in that division as well. Turf male, we both landed on Bala Bali, and would it's been a slightly weak division so far. 3-year-old male, Matt was gung-ho that it has to be Always Dreaming. I'm a little bit less so, but I agree Always Dreaming would get the award if it ended today. 3-year-old female, Matt, we disagreed.
Yep, we sure did. Unique Bella, Abel Tasman. Brian, you made a really good case for Abel Tasman. I just hope we get Unique Bella back to see these 2 knockheads.
There you go. Hopefully she's healthy and racing again in the second half of the year. Male sprinter, another division that's hard to make heads or tails of at this point, but we both liked Mind Your Biscuits based on what he did in Dubai more than anything. And female sprinter was an easy choice for both of us, Paula's Silver Lining. Folks, we're going to be back soon with another Horse Center. As always, we appreciate you watching. We want to thank our sponsor, Derby Wars, the best contest site out there. We invite you to join our YouTube channel, subscribe to our YouTube channel for all the latest videos from Horse Racing Nation, including, of course, Horse Center, and check out Horse Racing Nation on a daily basis for the latest from Matt and I, and also all the wonderful bloggers at Horse Racing Nation.
Brian, I want to wish you a great trip to England. International Brian Zipsey, heading to Royal Ascot.
Going to Royal Ascot, as they say, yes. Thank you to our producer, who is now doing this all via distance, Brett Workman.
Brett, thank you very much.
We'll see you next week, folks.